Assalamu alaikum, my beloved brothers and sisters. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to say, because this one reminder might change your rizq forever. There is a surah in the Qur'an that most Muslims recite without realizing something extraordinary. A surah that shifts your destiny, removes silent blocks in your income, and brings barakah in ways the mind cannot explain. Wallahi, not because of magic, not because of shortcuts, but because when you recite this surah, you awaken a promise Allah placed inside it, a promise that unlocks provision in the most unexpected moments. And the shocking part, 99% of Muslims have no idea what this surah can do for their rizq. Stay with me, because today's reminder might be the moment your entire financial story begins to change. The surah most Muslims recite without realizing its hidden power. My beloved brothers and sisters, before we speak about rizq, before we speak about wealth, and before we speak about the doors that open when Allah decides to lift you, let us understand something much deeper. Every one of us walks through life carrying silent fears. The fear of not having enough, the fear of losing what we have, the fear of falling behind, and the fear that everyone else is moving forward except us. These fears live in the heart, even when the tongue stays quiet. But Allah, in His perfect mercy, revealed a surah that speaks directly to these fears and melts them from the inside. This surah is not just a chapter you recite. It is a direct conversation with your heart. It is a reminder that your sustenance does not come from your boss, your business, your skill, or the economy. Your rizq flows from the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who wrote every drop of provision before you were even placed in the womb of your mother. Most Muslims read this surah casually, quickly, without connecting with its depth, without realizing that it carries a powerful spiritual key that can transform the way rizq reaches you. Surah Al-Waqi'ah stands as a declaration that the one who decides who rises and who falls, who receives and who waits, who is tested and who is blessed, is Allah alone. And when you recite the surah, truly recite it with a present heart, you begin to feel a shift inside you. You start understanding that abundance was never about how much money you have. Abundance begins when your heart finally understands that Allah is the ultimate provider. This is why so many Muslims say they recited this surah and noticed that their stress reduced, their trust increased, and suddenly opportunities began to appear small at first, then bigger and bigger. Not because the surah magically changes your life, but because it changes you. It changes the way you see Allah, the way you rely on Him, the way you walk through life with calmness instead of panic. And when the heart becomes calm, Allah opens the gates of rizq effortlessly. My beloved brothers and sisters, the true power of Surah Al-Waqi'ah begins when you stop rushing through it and start absorbing the message within it. That is the moment when you begin to feel the weight of Allah's promise. The promise that your provision is written, protected, and delivered with perfect precision. And once you carry that knowledge, your entire journey toward rizq becomes peaceful, steady, and filled with barakah. How this surah breaks the invisible chains blocking your rizq. My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when a person works hard, tries every opportunity, makes every effort, and still nothing seems to move. The salary stays the same, the debts rise, the business slows down, and the heart becomes tired. You start asking yourself, why is everything so difficult for me? What am I doing wrong? Why does it feel like something is holding me back? And the truth is, most of the chains that block a person's rizq are not physical, they are spiritual and emotional chains wrapped around the heart. This surah, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, was revealed to tear those invisible chains apart. It shifts your inner state, and when your inner state shifts, your life begins to transform. People often underestimate how much rizq is connected to the heart. A heart that fears poverty pushes blessings away. A heart filled with jealousy closes its own doors. A heart filled with anxiety becomes too distracted to recognize opportunities. But a heart that trusts Allah with complete surrender attracts provision the way a flower attracts light. When you recite this surah with reflection, it begins clearing the fog inside you. It reminds you that you are not chasing wealth, you are chasing the pleasure of the one who controls wealth. It frees you from feeling desperate and replaces that desperation with dignity. It removes the feeling of I must control everything and replaces it with I will do my best and Allah will take care of the rest. This mental shift is the real key that unlocks rizq, and Surah Al-Waqi'ah delivers this shift directly to your heart. This surah takes you on a journey through the power of Allah, how He creates, how He gives, how He withholds, how He brings life, how He decides destiny, and how nothing in this world happens without His permission. When your heart absorbs these realities, your relationship with rizq changes forever. You stop running behind money with fear, and you start walking toward Allah with certainty, knowing that whatever is written for you will reach you even if the entire world tries to stop it. It is in this state of trust that rizq truly begins to flow. Suddenly your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, your effort becomes more blessed, and your dua becomes deeper. You no longer fear tomorrow because you know the one who controls tomorrow. You no longer panic about the future because you trust the one who has already written your future. This level of yaqeen rarely comes from effort alone, it comes from surrender, and this surah teaches surrender in its most beautiful form. Many people say, I recited this surah every night and my life changed. But the reality is that their hearts changed first, and when the heart changes, everything else follows. Allah does not give rizq to a heart that is filled with fear and doubt, but He opens the treasures of the unseen for the heart that believes with certainty. Surah Al-Waqi'ah helps you build that certainty gently, deeply, consistently. And when certainty settles in the heart, the chains of blockage that once felt so heavy begin to fall off one by one until you finally stand in front of Allah with the humility of someone who understands. My rizq was never delayed, it was simply waiting for my heart to return to Him. The verse that rebuilds your trust in the one who provides. There comes a time in every believer's life when the heart begins to whisper doubts. Why is my rizq slow? Why is everything becoming harder? Why do some people receive so easily while I keep struggling? These questions are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your heart is seeking answers, and Allah, out of His mercy, placed those answers inside His book. Among them is a powerful verse within Surah Al-Waqi'ah that can rebuild your trust in the one who provides in ways you never imagined. Allah says in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, verses 58-62, a message so profound that if you truly internalize it, your entire relationship with rizq will transform. He asks you to reflect on the most basic acts of life. The seeds you sow, the water you drink, the fire you kindle. Through these simple examples, Allah reminds you that you control nothing, yet He makes everything easy for you. You might plant a seed, but you do not make it split open. You do not command the roots to grow. You do not order the fruits to form. You place it in the soil and hope, but the growth comes from Allah alone. When this truth enters your heart, it breaks the illusion that your income is yours because of your strength, your intelligence, or your planning. It shifts you into a new reality, a peaceful reality where you understand that your job is effort, your work is effort, your planning is effort, but the result is purely in Allah's hands. You begin to realize that stressing over what is written does not increase it, and panicking over what is delayed does not bring it any closer. Rizq flows according to Allah's wisdom, not your anxiety. This one verse teaches you that the same Allah who grows a seed in darkness, feeds a fish in the depths of the ocean, and brings rain from a sky that looked clear moments before, that same Allah is in charge of your provision. And if He cares for every creature on earth, will He not care for a believer who turns to Him with trust? When this understanding enters your heart, your dua becomes stronger, your patience becomes deeper, and your effort becomes more sincere. You stop thinking, what if I don't get enough? And start thinking, Allah will give me exactly what is meant for me at the time that is best for me. This shift removes the unnecessary pressure you place on yourself and replaces it with a calmness that carries you through every financial storm. My beloved brothers and sisters, many Muslims recite this surah without absorbing this one message. The moment you let go of the illusion of control, Allah opens doors you did not even know existed. The moment you stop tying your happiness to numbers, Allah fills your heart with peace. And the moment you stop fearing about tomorrow, Allah showers you with blessings that you never expected. This verse is not just a reminder, it is a spiritual awakening. It teaches your heart to breathe again, to rest again, to trust again. It tells you that Allah has never forgotten you, never abandoned you, and never withheld anything except to give you something better later. And when this belief becomes rooted in your heart, your rizq begins to flow with the ease that comes from true reliance upon the provider. The doors of rizq open when the heart learns true reliance. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is something profound that many people overlook when they speak about rizq. They focus on effort, on business strategies, on opportunities, on connections, on the world outside. But the reality is that the greatest doors of provision do not begin outside you, they begin inside your heart. You can chase the world endlessly, run after every opportunity, exhaust yourself with ideas and plans, but if your heart is not aligned with the provider, your hands will always feel empty. Surah Al-Waqi'ah teaches us this inner alignment, this surrender, this quiet trust that transforms the way Allah sends rizq into our lives. Every time you recite the surah, you are being reminded that life is not random. Your struggles are not random. Your delays are not random. Your challenges are not random. Allah prepares your heart before He prepares your rizq. Sometimes He withholds something not because you do not deserve it, but because your heart is not yet ready to carry it. A blessing given too early becomes a burden, and a blessing given at the right moment becomes a doorway to more blessings. This surah strengthens the heart so that it can receive the rizq that Allah has written for you with maturity, gratitude and wisdom. And this is why Surah Al-Waqi'ah is considered by many scholars as the surah of reliance. When you read it, you are reminded of how Allah creates you, sustains you, tests you and gently guides you toward what is better for you. It softens the anxiety that chases you day after day. It calms the overthinking that keeps you awake at night. It reminds you that the same Allah who brought you through every hardship in your past is the same Allah who is arranging your rizq at this very moment, even in ways you cannot see. And when the heart reaches this level of trust, Allah opens doors that you never imagined would open for you. There are people who recite the surah consistently and say, my life didn't change on the outside, but something changed inside me. Suddenly I started seeing barakah in small things. Suddenly I stopped feeling jealous of others. Suddenly Allah placed contentment in my heart. And what most people do not realize is that contentment is one of the greatest forms of rizq. When your heart is content, you live a wealthy life even if your income is simple. When your heart is anxious, you live in poverty even if your salary is high. Surah Al-Waqi'ah helps you develop that deep inner wealth that becomes the foundation of all other blessings. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most powerful things about the surah is the way it teaches you to release control. Many people hold on to their problems as if they can solve them alone. They fear the future as if they can rewrite it. They panic as if Allah is unaware of their situation. But when you recite this surah with reflection, you begin to understand that your job is effort, not control. Your job is sincerity, not perfection. Your job is consistency, not guarantee. The guarantee comes from Allah. The result comes from Allah. The timing comes from Allah. And when you accept this, your heart becomes lighter than it has ever been. This surrender is not weakness, it is strength. Because you are placing your trust not in your own limitations but in Allah's limitless power. And Allah opens the doors of rizq not when you are the strongest but when you are the most sincere. Not when you have everything figured out, but when you return to Him and say, I don't know how, but I know you will make a way. This sincerity is what shakes the heavens with your dua. And this surah teaches you how to build that sincerity inside you every single day. When the heart relies on Allah, the world cannot shake you. The losses cannot break you. The delays cannot destroy you. And the opinions of people cannot scare you. You walk through life with a calmness that confuses others because you are connected to a source of strength that does not run out. That is the real secret behind Surah Al-Waqi'ah. It teaches your heart to stand firmly even when your circumstances are unstable. And Allah opens the doors of rizq for the one whose heart stands firm in reliance upon Him. How Allah sends rizq through paths you never expected. My beloved brothers and sisters, There comes a stage in every believer's journey where they feel trapped. Trapped by circumstances, trapped by responsibilities, trapped by debts, trapped by fear, trapped by a life that feels heavier than what their heart can carry. And it is usually at this point, the moment when the believer reaches emotional exhaustion, that Allah sends a reminder through Surah Al-Waqi'ah. A reminder that rizq is not something you chase alone. Rizq is something Allah sends toward you when the time is right and when your heart is ready. Many people think rizq comes from the place they expect it. They think it will come from the job they applied for, the promotion they are hoping for, the business they are planning, or the opportunity they are pushing for. And while effort is necessary, reliance on those sources is what weakens the heart. Surah Al-Waqi'ah teaches you to disconnect your hope from the channels of the dunya and anchor your hope in Allah, the one who controls all channels. Because Allah sends provision from places that your mind cannot even imagine, from directions you did not even consider, from people you never expected to help you, from moments you thought were ordinary but were secretly written as turning points. There are countless stories of believers who were drowning in worry, who felt their lives tightening around them, and who recited Surah Al-Waqi'ah with sincerity and consistency. They did not witness miracles falling from the sky, but they saw changes unfolding slowly, beautifully, and perfectly. A job offer appears after months of silence. A debt unexpectedly gets resolved. A business that was failing begins to stabilize. A small amount of money becomes enough. A difficult situation becomes manageable. These are not coincidences. They are signs of Allah's mercy responding to hearts that return to Him. And the beauty of this surah is that it does not promise you luxury or wealth. It promises you ease, barakah, and sufficiency. It teaches you that true wealth is not in how much money you hold, but in how much peace Allah places in your heart. There are people who live with very little yet feel rich in gratitude. And there are people who have millions yet live in constant fear. Surah Al-Waqi'ah aligns your heart with the kind of wealth that cannot be taken away. The wealth of contentment, trust, and spiritual stability. My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes Allah keeps your rizq hidden because if it came too early, you would not appreciate it. Sometimes He keeps it delayed because He wants to protect you from the arrogance that might come with sudden success. Sometimes He withholds it because your heart still needs healing, cleansing, and grounding. And sometimes He delays it because what you are asking for is far smaller than what He has planned for you. Surah Al-Waqi'ah helps you develop the patience required to receive the blessing at the best possible moment, not the moment you think is best. And this is where the true power of Surah Al-Waqi'ah lies. It trains your heart to expect good from Allah even when you cannot see good around you. When you recite it regularly, your certainty increases, your fear decreases, your focus returns, your faith strengthens. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there but were hidden behind your stress and fear. This clarity is a gift from Allah, and it is through this clarity that rizq begins to flow. You start seeing doors that you once believed were closed forever. You begin receiving phone calls that change your day. You meet people who guide you toward the next step. You find strength to try again. You discover blessings in places you never thought would give you anything. This is how Allah works quietly, gently, beautifully. Surah Al-Waqi'ah opens your heart so that you can finally see the blessings that Allah was preparing behind the scenes all along. My beloved brothers and sisters, if you truly understood how carefully Allah arranges your provision, how perfectly He times every blessing, and how lovingly He protects you from what you are not ready for, you would never rush His plan again. You would trust, you would breathe, you would rely, and you would walk through life with the calmness of someone who knows that their rizq is already written, already protected, and already on its way. When Allah delays your rizq, my beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most misunderstood parts of rizq is delay. People fear delays. They think delayed rizq means rejection. They think unanswered du'as mean abandonment. They think slow progress means something is wrong with them. But the truth, Surah Al-Waqi'ah plants deep in your heart is that when Allah delays your rizq, He is not denying you. He is preparing you, shaping you, strengthening you, and positioning you for something far greater than what you are asking for. Allah never delays without purpose. He never withholds without wisdom. He never says not yet, unless the yes He has written for you is bigger than your expectations. But the heart becomes impatient. It gets tired of waiting. It becomes desperate. It begins comparing itself with others who appear to be moving forward faster. Yet this surah reminds you, your timeline is not the same as theirs. Your story is not the same as theirs. And the destination Allah is preparing for you is not the same as anyone else's. Sometimes Allah delays your rizq because you are still healing from a wound you do not talk about. Sometimes He delays your rizq because there are blessings attached to it that require patience to carry. Sometimes He delays your rizq because your character is still being polished. Your humility, your sincerity, your gratitude, your resilience. And sometimes Allah delays your rizq because if He gave it to you right now, you would accept a small blessing while He has a far bigger one written for you. Surah Al-Waqi'ah shifts your heart toward this understanding. It teaches you that rizq is not random, it is written with precision, it is delivered with perfection. It arrives at the exact moment when it cannot harm you, when it will benefit you, when it will elevate you, and when your heart is ready to handle it with gratitude instead of arrogance. This surah reminds you that Allah is not just your provider, He is your guardian, your protector, your planner, your guide, and the one who cares for you more than you care for yourself. And this is why believers who understand this surah stop panicking about delay. They stop crying over closed doors. They stop fearing the future. Instead, they start looking at delay as a sign that something better is being arranged. They begin treating every hardship as a seed of mercy waiting to bloom. They look at silence and see planning. They look at setbacks and see redirection. They look at uncertainty and see Allah's wisdom unfolding in a way their eyes cannot understand but their hearts can trust. My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments when Allah slows your rizq to protect you from people you do not see. There are moments when He delays it to save you from mistakes that would damage your heart. There are moments when your rizq is held back because Allah is lifting you to a higher rank through patience, gratitude, and trust, ranks that cannot be earned through ease alone. And there are moments when Allah delays your blessing only so that you recognize it deeply when it finally arrives. You will notice something very powerful when you recite Surah Al-Waqi'ah regularly. Your heart begins to calm down even when your situation has not changed yet. You begin to feel relief before relief comes. You begin to feel gratitude before the blessing arrives. You begin to trust the process even though you cannot fully understand it. And that is one of the most beautiful gifts Allah can give a believer, a peaceful heart even before the storm ends. This is the true miracle of this surah. Not that it instantly changes your bank account, but that it changes your inner world so deeply that the outer world begins to shift in response. It prepares you spiritually for what is coming for you physically. It makes your dua stronger, your patience deeper, your reliance purer. It makes you ready for the blessing that Allah has already written with your name on it, waiting for the perfect moment to reach you. My beloved brothers and sisters, if you knew how much goodness Allah has hidden for you, if you could see how carefully He is arranging your rizq behind the scenes, if you could witness how many harms He is protecting you from, you would fall into sujood out of gratitude before your blessing even arrives. Surah Al-Waqi'ah teaches you to trust the unseen, because the unseen is where Allah stores the greatest gifts. And when Allah finally decides that the time has come, when He finally says, now is the moment, nothing on earth and nothing in the heavens can stop the rizq that is meant to reach you, it will find you. It will chase you. It will arrive in ways you did not predict. And it will come with a sweetness that only delayed blessings carry, the sweetness that reminds you that Allah never forgot you for a single moment. When you walk toward Allah, rizq begins walking toward you. My beloved brothers and sisters, there comes a moment after all the fear, after all the waiting, after all the unanswered du'as and silent nights, when something remarkable begins to happen inside a believer. A moment when the heart finally understands that its true strength does not come from the dunya, nor from people, nor from effort, nor from money, but from the one who holds the universe in his hands. And when this realization settles inside the heart with sincerity, a new life begins, a new perspective opens, and rizq rizq starts moving toward you with a speed and sweetness you could never have imagined. This is the transformation Surah Al-Waqi'ah was designed to awaken within you. It teaches you that your job is not to chase blessings with desperation. Your job is to walk toward Allah with devotion. When you do that, blessings begin chasing you. When you purify your intentions, Allah purifies your paths. When you soften your heart, Allah softens your destiny. When you lift your hands in dua with sincerity, Allah lifts burdens from your shoulders that you never even spoke about. And when you take one small step toward Him, even if your step is shaky, tired or full of tears, Allah runs toward you with mercy, comfort and rizq from directions you never thought existed. Many people spend their entire lives trying to fix their external problems without ever realizing that their internal world is the starting point of every change. Surah Al-Waqi'ah heals this internal world. It teaches you that the first door of rizq is the door of your heart, not the door of your job. It teaches you that the first step toward abundance is gratitude, not calculation. It teaches you that the first solution to financial fear is reliance, not worry. When this surah becomes part of your daily routine, it shifts you from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of trust, from a mindset of panic to a mindset of peace, from a mindset of doubt to a mindset of certainty in Allah's generosity. My beloved brothers and sisters, there are people whose external situations did not change immediately. Their salaries remained the same, their businesses moved slowly, their circumstances still required patience, but their hearts changed so deeply after reciting this surah that the same life which once felt stressful now feels manageable, hopeful and filled with barakah. This inner shift is not small. It is the beginning of every major blessing Allah sends, because when your heart aligns with Allah, the world can no longer shake you. When your faith becomes stable, your rizq becomes stable. When your trust becomes strong, your path becomes clear. And the beauty is this: once you return to Allah with a sincere heart, every step you take becomes guided, every decision becomes blessed, every struggle becomes meaningful. You begin to see wisdom in delays, comfort in hardship, purpose in setbacks. You stop questioning Allah's timing and start appreciating His planning. This is when rizq begins to move toward you naturally, effortlessly, beautifully, because a heart that trusts Allah becomes a magnet for His mercy. Some people wonder, how will Allah help me when my situation looks impossible? But they forget that Allah is the one who brings plants out of dead earth, brings rain from clear skies, brings opportunities from unexpected places, brings healing from brokenness, and brings relief after the darkest nights. If Allah can revive the land after drought, He can revive your rizq after struggle. If Allah can split the sea for Musa, He can split difficulties for you. If Allah protected Yunus in the belly of a whale, He can protect your heart in the depths of your hardship. And if Allah fed every creature in existence today, do you think He will forget you, the believer who calls upon Him with sincerity and trust? My beloved brothers and sisters, this is the message Surah Al-Waqi'ah places deep inside your soul. Allah is with you, Allah is guiding you, Allah is preparing you, and Allah is planning something for you far greater than what you have asked for. You do not need to chase the world when the one who controls the world is already taking care of you. Walk toward Him with humility, devotion and consistency, and you will witness rizq walking toward you in ways that will bring tears of gratitude to your eyes. And when that moment comes, and it will come, you will look back at every struggle, every delay, every tear, and every silent prayer, and you will say from the depths of your heart, had Allah given me what I wanted earlier, I would have missed the beauty of what He planned for me.